Well, welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ review, number 318. I'm the moderator, Virtue, being joined by this week's elite panel of the review. Of course, Aaron Rift, Jeff Meacham is here, JJ, the Walter reliable one. The reliable Walter is back, and Gino is a staple now of the review. What's going on, everybody? JJ, you're in the corner to my left, so what's up? I'll start with you.
Not much. Good to be here. Good to be back on the NoDQ review. Looking forward to discussing the topics you've got at hand, Virtue. Let's get going.
Yeah, we got a couple big topics. And, the NoDQ Galaxy, we'll chat. Some might super chat and extend the conversation. I'm hoping to get out of here in an hour. So we'll stay tuned, JJ. Walter, over to you next. What's up?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm also ready to get into it, but if Psycho Jet Black is in here, you could give up on that hour. I can tell you that much.
You guys are NXT watchers, right? So you're like, we got to get started. We got to get rolling. Gino, what's up?
Not too much. I'm looking forward to discussing these topics and being here with all you fine gentlemen.
All right, stay tuned. All right, Jeff.
It's good to be here, man. Been an interesting last week, last couple of days. Got my kiddo back in school. I'm starting back at Disney soon. Man, life is good and stressful over here, but so much less stress in here than I ever figured. I'm happy for it. Let's
so
get it going.
You're going back to work at Disney? You're going to be one of the characters?
No, thank heavens. I'll be in the transportation department, so I'll be driving them to and from their stations with any luck.
If you're ever one of the characters, I want a kayfabe picture. I would not share this with anybody. With you gasping for breath, holding the head in a hot day, but with the rest of the suit on, I'd get a pop.
Absolutely.
I'd frame that and put that up in my house.
No, it's funny without going too far into the weeds, and God, for poor Aaron's sake, the biggest mic I got starting when I first started back the first time I went in. I'm walking from backstage onto Main Street, and I see the Queen of Hearts come off stage, and I see him take off her head. Big, burly dude, goatee bigger than mine. I'm going, that was stupid. That was crazy. So, yeah, something like that would be awesome. I mean, I'd be down for a picture like that.
Stay tuned. And, of course, I wouldn't spoil it. I wouldn't put it out on the internet.
No. That's an instant fire.
For my personal use. All right, Aaron, what's going on?
The thing is, one day, AI, whether it's Elon Musk's app or another app, ChatGPT, they'll be able to create that image with a prompt via AI. So it could be an interesting period with people potentially getting fired over an AI image because they thought it was legitimate. But anyways,
I can probably get off the air tonight, Aaron, and do it for you in about 5 minutes, honestly. Like it's not that difficult these days.
And it's crazy now. People on YouTube are creating videos with fake thumbnails. I've seen videos with headlines about wrestlers dying, and they use an image created with AI to show the wrestler in the hospital or something like that. That's obviously a fake image.
Hey, Aaron, on my New Year's show, I had congratulations from President-elect Trump, President Biden, and Elon Musk. Anything is possible.
There you go. And with the voices, like who knows what things, for better or worse, people will be able to create over the next several years. But anyways, shout out to the Cleaver Colin Andrew. Great guy. Sent in a $2 super chat. Says, shout out to the panel. He hopes to be back next week. So I guess he's
Big G got a spot.
Yep.
Calling their shots. Yep, that's it.
Yep, Big G should be back next week. Cleaver Colin Andrew back with us again. And we've had a very busy week here. A lot of talk about Hulk Hogan. People are sick of it. So we're not going to talk about Hulk Hogan unless somebody super chats it. But we do have a couple good topics tonight. So Virtue, I'll go ahead and throw it over to you and we'll get started.
All right. So the first topic we're going to talk about, another AEW star is now in WWE and looks like they're going to get a heavy push. We've seen this with CM Punk. Cody Rhodes is the top of the food chain. Even, to NXT credit, Ethan Page. Jade Cargill was tag team champion a couple occasions. I know she's out with an injury. But now we have Penta. Penta is over there. And, of course, I'm sure in due time when contracts allow it, Ray Phoenix, whatever, however you say his name, will be over there as well, the Lucha Brothers. And if you remember, back in the day, a lot of people jumped ship when WWE was stale in the mid-'90s to go to WCW, and then WCW, the explosion happened with the NWO and whatnot. And you had ECW in there where those guys kind of went to both companies. But then as WCW started having problems, they started migrating back to WWE. And I swear, I feel like this is happening now in a way with WWE and AEW. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. And it's a post-Vince McMahon era, a reason why a lot of the wrestlers left. And of course, I know it's still not a perfect. I'm not saying WWE's perfect. Not everybody can be happy. Look at the Corey Graves stuff. I'm sure someone might super chat us later. Maybe we can talk about that. But let's talk about Penta and his debut on Raw. Where do you think he's going to land? Upper mid card for sure. Tag teams when Ray is there. A lot of Hispanic wrestlers that they can have feuds or groups with. So much demographic to reach out to, and perfect signing for WWE. The one thing I've always known about Penta through the indies is he wasn't always reliable showing up for smaller paydays, but I'm sure this thing he's going to be showing up because it's WWE and you don't F with them. Jeff Meacham, I'm going to start with you on this topic.
Yeah, I was happy for Penta. I've watched him come up. I kind of watched this Underground when I could. It wasn't my cup of tea when it was on, but I've gone back and watched in retrospect. It was good. I enjoyed him in TNA when he was the Impact World Champion. I think it was Impact at that point. One of those guys that's just long overdue for a solid run on a big stage. Some people are saying the match itself or the crowd response was kind of not there. I was watching along with another podcasting friend, and I didn't notice that when I had the sound on. I thought the crowd was into it. His family was there, which was always cool. But yeah, you mentioned the grass being green on the other side. Sean Waltman, of course, first famously jumped back. I wonder how people like Mercedes Moné feel right now, as far as the creative in AEW and how she's being received versus had she just waited it out because the Vince McMahon thing was almost inevitable by the time she even walked out.
Yeah.
Definitely curious
paid,
how
Jeff.
people like, hey, you know what? And she's getting paid well, so good on her for it.
And
Yep,
she can
4
look in
titles.
the mirror. She can look in the mirror in the hotel with a wad of cash with a title on her belt. And if that makes her happy, she probably doesn't care about what the fans think.
I think she's made that clear in appearances that she really doesn't care what the fans think overall, unless they're paying for that newsletter of hers, to be honest.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I'm going to jump over to JJ now. He's always he always raises his hand, so I'm going to give him the floor for as long as he wants.
I appreciate that, Virtue. Yeah, I really thought that Penta's debut went over well. It seemed like he was well received. Tony Khan and company were sitting there watching that, reveling in their dumb effery in the way that they handled Penta for the 5 years they had him. WWE had merchandise on the website hours before he debuted. I never once saw a Penta mask on shopaew.com. WWE's probably already sold out their first stock of them at $75, $79 a pop. You got to think that guys like Ricky Starks, Wardlow, maybe Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, they're sitting there looking at this and like, how much time do we have left, Tony? Because I'm seeing how they're handling Penta, and I see how they handled Jade, and I see how they handled Ethan, and Sean Spears, and Cody, as you pointed out. I think there's enough ink left in that pen for a couple more signatures there, Paul. As far as where will Penta end up, all I want is for him to not to get stuck in the LWO. Penta getting stuck in the LWO is like anybody getting stuck in the Jericho vortex.
Right.
It just will do no favors to him in the long run. It's like, hey, we got another masked luchador. Let's put him in the LWO. Isn't that what Bischoff did back in 97, 98?
Yep.
If anything, if anything. And I was watching a couple other videos about Penta's debut throughout the day, getting ready for this. So I don't remember who I maybe caught this from, but I think it's inevitable to have Penta and Ray team up possibly against the New Day, because that was the match they were originally teasing for the Raw debut until things got pushed to what we ended up getting last night. So maybe have that happen at Saturday night's main event, and shortly thereafter have Penta pull the trigger and go heel on Ray. Just to get him as far away from the LW as possible. Penta versus Rey Mysterio would be a hell of a WrestleMania match, but don't lump him into the LWO.
Yeah. All right. A lot of people probably agree with that. And WWE, when they do get Ray Phoenix over and sign, we assume that they would put them together as a tag team, have a run. Then they can have those guys feud against each other in classic matches and do it the right way. We'll see, right? I mean, WWE is global now, and they're definitely making sure they have the diverse roster. Walter, over to you on this one. You haven't been on the review in a week or two, so have at it.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Penta. Like, I can't wait. Just to rub the AEW stank off of him, I think that Chad needs to have his arm in a sling. Because how many times has that arm breaker been done in an AEW ring and immediately somebody gets up? Even Cody Rhodes got up out of that and like it had no effect. If you're gonna put it over, and the commentators already talked about that arm breaker, have Chad be in an arm sling for the next couple of weeks at least. And if they do that, I can already see that they're taking Penta serious, and he's going to be a big star. And then what I don't get is that people are saying that he went over, like his promo went over the time or the allotted time, or his match went over, and it's like, it's freaking Netflix. There really isn't a time slot. Like, what are the people talking about? Like, you talk about marks all the time. I feel like that the internet community just read something somewhere and like it's taken off on fire. First of all, Raw ended a half hour early.
You know what it is, Walter?
From? Yeah.
You know, when they say, whether a dirt sheet reports it, and then fans run with it, all those smarks like that makes them feel they're part of the company backstage working with the talent, and they're in the know. That's their dream. They're not just fans. They want to be part of it. That's why they do that.
Yeah.
I can't say in the past, years ago, that wasn't a dream of mine. Being like a Vince Russo of the modern era and getting people that like working fans to like or dislike stuff. But again, whatever.
Yeah. My point is, Raw ended a half hour early. So who did he take time from? Like,
exactly.
Guys, like, what are you talking about? Like, literally it ended at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Who did he take time from?
Yep.
Like, it makes no sense. It's hypocritical right there alone. Like, oh, he took time from who? It literally ended a half hour early. But I'm glad. You can see his mask are selling like hotcakes. There was a bunch of signs already there. They put the mask, like JJ said, 12 hours before the show, and it went like that. They did the smart thing of putting it. They debuted him. They waited, not on the Raw one. They waited till they were in a huge Hispanic market.
Yeah, it's like San Jose. Where is that between LA and San Francisco?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a huge Hispanic market. Like they showed there's a video of him signing his first autograph, and everybody was like Mexican, like he's gonna do his people proud. Like, and in terms of versus Ray, like I can't wait till they do that. Matter of fact, I would keep them at the Royal Rumble, eliminate Ray, and then start your WrestleMania program. There you go. Have Penta eliminate Ray from the Rumble, and then you can start that. Like, that's what I feel like they should go. And yeah, I'm with JJ with the keep away from LWO, keep away from Legado del Fantasma, make him a big star on his own. And then when his brother's contract expires, then you can make him a tag team if you want. And then maybe on SmackDown, because it seems like SmackDown is getting all the tag teams and they're focusing on that tag team division on SmackDown. Yeah. So I think they did an excellent job.
Hey, you got an OTC shirt on?
Yeah.
One tough cookie. Yeah. Nice. All right. Gino, over to you now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Virtue. Guys, you all made a bunch of great points. I wanted to touch on a few of those before going into it. So, yeah, and like you said, when Ray Phoenix comes back, I mean, they're probably going to be a tag team. So, if he's going to have a powerful singles run, I mean, you feel like now, like until Phoenix comes into the company, this would now be the time to establish him as a singles wrestler. I feel like it's difficult for wrestling fans. I mean, even Jey Uso addressed it. It's like it's really difficult to step out of the shadow of a tag team once you're presented as a tag team, right? Obviously, there's a bunch of guys that have done it, but even Jay's still trying to climb out of that, even with the moniker of main event. Now, JJ, you were right. We definitely want to keep him away from Legado del Fantasma. We want to keep him away from LWO as far as joining and just being another mass luchador. I mean, it didn't do really anything for Dragon Lee. I mean, since he was replaced, I feel like Dragon Lee we don't want to see the same thing happen to Penta. And to Virtue's point, with the question of another AEW star, how is WWE going to book this person? I feel like they don't want him to get lost in the shuffle. What's surprising to me is, like you guys have mentioned, it felt like it was going to go that tag team route with Ray and the New Day. And then all of a sudden they're like, Adam Pearce is going to put you against the best luchador that he can find. It's like, isn't Rey Mysterio on Monday Night Raw? So it really feels like they're putting Penta, they're elevating him even above. Like, if Ray was on SmackDown, I could get it. Adam Pearce can't get Ray because he's on SmackDown. But then you're like, no, Penta is the best luchador we can find. I mean, yeah, he's got to live up. You're not just saying that about this guy to not push him, right? Ideally, he will bring that moniker into a match with Ray, hopefully at WrestleMania. The match with Chad Gable, you could argue, is one of Chad Gable's best matches. I think that it was really. I think there was a great job, like Aaron mentioned on his review, of putting them together. As far as Penta is concerned, I'm not the biggest fan of his look. Just being honest, the tassel stuff getting in his way and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old school like that, or more of a kind of a simplistic mask and things like that. So I do see that the fans like it, and I get why they do. Speaking of AEW again, I thought it was funny. You see all these memes of Penta coming out, and he's like, "Oh, an audience with people in it," right? Like
Hard cam
it's
side
like
has
that's
people.
savage. But you could argue this is one of the more full arenas that he's wrestled in front of. So he had to make it good. He got on the mic, the broken English thing, speaking his native language. The crowd ate it up. Like Pat McAfee said, I didn't really understand half of what he was saying, but the crowd seemed into it. So that makes me into it.
Netflix translated it. They put everything right on the thing.
I didn't have the subtitles on. I find it gets in the way of the matches, but maybe I'll have the subtitles on when him or somebody else is speaking. But his matches don't really, or at least this one didn't really follow your typical WWE match style. So it is kind of a nice change of pace in the middle of a card or something to have a Penta match. I think now that WWE fans on the whole are exposed to him, I think the Cero Miedo will get over more. I think there'll be more people chiming along with that. Speaking of stuff getting cut for time, I mean, nothing after this segment felt like it was shortened. Felt
Women's
like it was
match,
cut for time.
the
Nothing
IC title
felt
match.
rushed. What?
The IC title match.
I thought that was fine. Like, why?
Yeah, I thought it was shorter than it should have been, considering it was the final match to crown the first champion. It felt a little short to me.
Okay,
But how long did you want it to go? Like 20 minutes?
If they were capable, it's the first match to crown your workhorse champion. I would go as long as they could possibly do it.
I would tend to agree with that, Aaron. But I also, and I said this all along, I was leery about them having Dakota Kai be involved that far because she's proven to be injury prone.
Then
you have her go more than they.
Then.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But from the perspective of, okay, well, we're here now, we got to do that. I personally agree with the room. I don't think the match was shortened or anything was shortened because of Penta's stuff. Adam Pearce put out a great post on his Facebook this morning, and I put it all over my socials. The most disrespectful people involved in wrestling are the internet wrestling, quote, fan. And he's not wrong. The internet wrestling fans just can't seem to be happy with anything. They're much like my, and that's great. But Your job, as you've said so many times, is to evaluate the show. And in your opinion, it was too short because of something. We don't know that for a
Well,
fact.
Jeff,
And
to be fair,
to Virtue's point, we're not on the inside. We don't know. We like to think we know what's going on.
I mean, I don't think Adam Pearce has a problem with fans, fantasy booking, or wanting things a certain way. I think it's the ones that go above and beyond and have to be the pitchfork and torch type people on the internet and talk down to the wrestlers or the creative and those
basically the guys
trolls.
The guys that go on Twitter don't have a real profile picture, don't show their face, and they just
Right.
talk a lot of trash and just complain about everything and do that just to get some likes on Twitter or X.
Well, and most of the time I agree with that, but the people that are bitching today about, oh well, Raw was shortened, parts of Raw were shortened because of the Penta thing. If they've got the time slot, and we all have heard Triple H say he likes that that 2.5 hour sweet spot you mentioned last time in your review, even if the show goes 2.5, 3 hours, nothing felt lesser than to me because of Penta's segment, at least to me.
All I know before I pass back over to Gino is CM Punk is the face of Raw on Netflix right now, and I absolutely love it. Gino,
no doubt.
Yeah. So a couple of things there. Going back to the Penta thing. It almost felt like the fans who are running with this rumor, dirt sheet, whatever, it almost feels like they felt like the segment was too long. And it was a really long match, and then it was a really long post match. I could see if you had a problem with that, but thinking that it was comfort time. And we got to remember, the whole give divas a chance thing came about because the women in that match decided it should have been a squash match, and they thought that backstage politics said you don't have a lot of time, make 2 minutes work, and the rest is history. So the women in the match and the producers could have decided that this is a proper length for the match. This is the spots that we have set up. I mean, there were a couple of like vicious spots too, where they were definitely doing a lot of substance within the time that they had. Maybe that's why I didn't feel like it was so long.
all right, Jeff. Anything else before I pass it to Aaron?
No, I'm just glad that got brought up because it's that's one of the few things that still bugs me about the internet wrestling community. It's like they just can't. We cannot help ourselves with breeding and spreading the toxicity. Even when last week's show was so good. Yeah, the Hogan thing was what it was. I was there live. It wasn't pretty. It was even less pretty watching it back on demand. Last night's show was good too. Was it a perfect show? You said it yourself, Aaron. No. It's hard. It's so hard to have a perfect show because that word is so subjective in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Again, we got to be strategic on where they put Hogan. Like today, I saw him on Fox News, and that for him and his aura today, that's the audience that beer needs to be pushed to, and they can get something out of it. And I know some people hate that, but that's the marketing. There are people out there that like certain things. Market to them. All right. Yes, Aaron.
Oh, I just wanted to say regarding Hogan, all he needs to do is go out there with the NWO shirt and the NWO music with the beard, have the black beard, and be Hollywood Hogan, and he will turn that crowd around. Like they will
lean into it. Oh.
And don't come out. Don't lean into being like the politics, or obviously you got to steer clear of the racism issue. But that character that we know of Hollywood Hogan, turn that heat into actual heat because of your wrestling character. And people could say, "Oh, no matter what, we're gonna boo Hogan because he's this and that." Well,
they will mark out.
Outsmart them.
I bet you 95% of the people that hate on Hulk Hogan, if he went out there and did the Hollywood shtick, people would turn around and be like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome."
Especially if it's trying to put somebody over.
Remember how people
instead of a beer.
Kevin Nash, they hate Kevin Nash for being a politician and all that stuff. And then when he came back at the Royal Rumble in 2011, the place went unglued for him.
As Diesel, they were nuts. Yep.
Anyways, JJ.
I was gonna say he should have been Hollywood Hogan anyway. He was in the heart of Los Angeles.
I know.
Missed opportunity.
Yes.
And I mean, and it's safe to say, like, as popular as Hulkamania was, Hollywood Hogan and the NWO, even though they were heels, they boosted the Attitude Era, the most popular time ever in wrestling. So there's a different type of popularity there. And they have it. They just have to have the balls to do it. All right.
They made it cool to be heels. The whole
Well,
NWO.
but that's the thing, Virtue. When Hogan inducted Okerlund in 2006, the crowd was like chewing him up or whatever, and then he turned on him and got into boot. Oh, okay, I knew you guys to shut up. Like he's even still, he knows. Yeah, was it a little unexpected last week? Yeah, but when he's there in San Antonio for an entire event, he'll know how to work the room this time.
See, we always can talk about Hogan, even with the controversy. All right, Aaron, over to
Right.
you. We were talking about Penta. I know you've already talked about it, so go ahead and say what you need to say.
And here, well, I'm still on the topic of Hogan because
Okay, yeah, I should have made it a
people. I'm seeing these comments now. Who cares about Hulk Hogan? Stop posting news about Hulk Hogan. Nobody cares. Well, it's generated the most traffic for the site more than anything. More than
And Aaron,
Rock,
I need
more than
to
CM Punk.
say something because you keep talking about Hogan. It's your channel, your site, and I see City by the Bay. Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, he learned wrestling in the carny world of working. And he knows no other way but to lie. And the problem is, but without kayfabe anymore, and fans want to know the truth, Hogan's still trying to work, and everything he spews is fabricated and lie because that's all he knows how to do because that's the business he came up in. And now fans hate him. Like, yes, the racist comments, okay. Him being a conservative or Trump supporter, okay. I think a lot of fans hate him because he lies. He tries to work them, and they hate that. They hate that probably more than the other stuff. You know what I mean? Walter.
Yeah.
All I have to say is that everybody says, stop posting about him. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You cared enough to comment. So that's all I got to say.
Controversy creates cash.
Bingo.
Bischoff said it years ago. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
But anyway, Aaron likes to talk about Hogan. You got anything else to say about Hogan, Aaron? Or you can talk about Penta.
I've said my piece. We've talked about Penta here. I think people made some great points. There was a line about the hard camera and that joke. But keep in mind, here's a trivia note. Jeff, you probably know this. So at All In 2023, 80,000 people there. Penta put skewers in somebody's head. Whose head was it?
That would be the current AW World Champion.
Yeah,
that's right.
And you know what? I told you I might get hot tonight. And I see Tito always talking about the racial comments that Hogan got caught saying on private camera, and he said the word multiple times. Okay, listen, that was wrong, right? And you can say when he apologized if it wasn't sincere, that's fine. Anybody can say something in heated moment. If I see Hogan out there in KKK rallies with tattoos on there, and there more video evidence other than one meltdown one night, I'm going to be one of the first people that's going to say this guy's a racist bigot. But maybe because I'm conservative, Christian, I forgive people or give them a chance, right? And I know it's not my fight to talk about racism, but I have many black friends, and we talk about it, and I'm like, you hate Hogan? They're like, yeah, he was a dick. He shouldn't have said that. But no, I don't hate him. Like, but then I see people that will say they're going to hate him to the end of time because once they hear that from him, they can never forget. And it's so confusing. I don't know who, like, it's just really confusing. And I think because he is in the wrestling world, it really magnifies the controversy with Hogan because of all that other stuff, because of the wrestling stuff too. And I just wanted to get that out there. Again, it's crazy that this happened. How many years ago now, Jeff?
Well,
10?
but Virtue, to be fair, I think the current more recency bias, we talk about that all the time on this show. He was out there campaigning, promoting the beer last year, and he made the comments about Vice President Harris and mispronouncing her name and making fun of her race, as far as like which, like how she, that's a rough thing to do
with the election results, and so that it's all of it. But because Hogan's a wrestler that came up in the working world, it's 100 times than other people. So that controversy, so it's this. This is the main reason why he's.
Well,
and I mean,
for
God's sake, it's Hogan, and yet he overtook us talking about Penta's debut in WWE, which we gave Penta got a fair time shake here tonight, so we didn't gyp him.
No, but
Aaron pointed out Hogan was like the #1 traffic getter for his site the past couple of weeks. I mean, you got CM Punk, Hogan, and what was the other one? Rock.
Probably Dwayne.
Rock, but people have the curiosity
to click on it.
And it got the mainstream coverage. I mean, unfortunately for WWE, they got mainstream coverage out of the
and
Raw
I wish
debut
he
on
never
Netflix.
did some of these things. You know what I mean? I do.
don't-
Yeah,
like,
no,
I don't
yeah.
like him as a
it would be-
person at all.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, Aaron, back to
Yeah,
you.
I mean,
Gino
I
raised
am-
his hand.
I'm not a fan of Terry Bollea. I grew up a fan
Bingo.
of Hulk Hogan, and I respect
Bingo.
what he did, but as a
Yeah.
person, I don't like the guy, and that's fine. You can like him, you can hate him. At least show him the respect accomplishments. I mean, the guy is beat up. He took a huge beating for the craft, and people say he was a terrible wrestler and whatnot. But I mean, he entertained a lot of people for
Watch
many-
his Japan stuff, right, Jeff?
There's that, and also, again, we'll sit there and dance around this all day. The bottom line is, none of us are sitting here. Aaron's not running his site. I don't have the stupid fame I've got, whatever you want to call it. It's not for Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon. The problem is, and Bischoff even said this himself on his podcast, Terry Bollea now has such a hard time separating the two. He has for years, but now it's basically just one person. The problem is, much like Ric Flair, the persona that Terry wants out there is Hulk Hogan, just different degrees of the Hulkster. And the problem is, the Hulkster is out there promoting the beer, making the stupid comments. The Hulkster's out there in the bandana at the car wreck scene. Hulkster's on there on the phone, even wearing the bandana in the jail cell. Private recordings being snubbed. That's not cool by the cops, and I get that. But every time you see Terry Bollea outside of a courtroom, he's got the do-rag on, so he's Hulk Hogan.
All right.
That's the
I
problem.
agree.
Perception
I
is
agree.
reality.
Gino and then Walter, and then back to Aaron.
Yeah. So as somebody who lives down here in the Tampa Bay Clearwater area, Hogan's neck of the woods, right? I think it was at WrestleMania a few years back, but like he's been getting booed every time he's shown up
Yeah.
live in the Tampa Bay Amalie Arena, the Royal Rumble area, like wherever the events are being held in the area, he is getting boos from the crowd, right? Whether it's fair, whether it's not fair. You know, as a huge John Cena fan, right? How many times did John Cena, even as the good guy, get booed out of the building, being a terrible wrestler, whatever? Fans are gonna boo who they want to boo, and they're gonna cheer who they want to cheer, and they might not even have a legitimate reason. They might even not even be able to articulate why. But I guess that's part of I mean, if they hear the rest of the crowd booing, maybe they're gonna boo and they don't know why they're even booing along with them. So,
But that night against The Rock, who is half black in Toronto, Hogan blew the roof off.
yeah, the Rogan chants, right?
With Wayne.
Beating chant. Oh man, that's
And
one of the greatest things ever.
that just it happened. I mean, that's documented, and we'll always go back and consider that one of the greatest matches of all time. Even though things in the match weren't great, the characters were larger than life. Walter?
People need to learn to separate the human from the character. That's like hating Leo DiCaprio for who he played in Django. It's like, dude, he was a character. Like, why are you so like separate the person? I still have a soft spot, I can admit, for all his cheesy movies and his TV shows. They're like so bad that they're good. It's like I gotta watch them, like Commando and all that, Suburban Commando and all that stuff. It's like there's a spot for him there, and I'm brown, and it's like I know what he said, but I know how to separate character from people. Like I still like Velveteen Dream. He was never proven guilty in any court of law, so it's like you got to know how to separate things. Like I don't understand why people have such a hard time doing that.
All right, Aaron.
All right, let's get back to Penta. I got a couple super chats here. Hope and somehow hijacked this discussion tonight, but it happens. I think that there was a great idea about Penta maybe going heel and feuding with Rey Mysterio. I would really like that. I think that this is an opportunity to elevate some of the other guys in WWE that are lost in the shuffle, guys like Dragon Lee and maybe even some of the LWO members, Legado del Fantasma. Obviously, Penta can work with anybody, but it'd be cool to see some lucha matches in WWE and get those guys elevated. But yeah, Penta, I think, has a lot of upside. Gino's entitled to his opinion about the mask. I like the mask, and I think it's going to sell a lot for WWE. And to me, he's got the personality, and he might just be the closest thing to the next Rey Mysterio that they've been looking for many years now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him. Give him a good 6 month run as a single star, and then once Phoenix comes in, you can reunite the tag team. And yeah, bearing any injuries, I think Penta will have a nice little run here in WWE. And Steve-O mentioned this comment, Penta discussion doesn't work for me, brother. Quote, and there you go.
And I'm
Yeah.
telling
He
you,
won't put
like
over
I know the political affiliation and then the racial comments, the racist comments, but yet I still think a lot of Hogan's heat is still wrestling fans not liking the politics they know about and how Hogan held
Right.
certain people back. I think that's bigger of a deal in the wrestling bubble for booze than a lot of people think. I'm not saying the other reasons aren't, but
What's funny though, Virtue, is Triple H was accused of the same thing. Aaron and I started our audio show raining down on the reign of terror for 3 years.
Yeah.
And now Paul Levesque is the great, it freaking walks on water now. I think that's the difference.
All right, so we got a couple super chats here. Let me get to those. The Learning Sicko Dr. Bropio sent in a $5 Canadian super chat. Thank you for that. Says WWE buried Penta. He was selling too much, didn't do enough flips, was doing in-ring psychology, and cut a post-match promo. Tony Khan would never.
That's sarcasm,
And he sold his
right?
leg.
Yeah, it's
And
a
he
joke.
sold
Yeah.
his leg.
And he did a great job selling too. Like the
He did.
reactions when Gable slammed his leg into the ring post. He did a great job with his facial reactions to that. He was great. I thought Penta did a fantastic job.
And look at that. Chad sold the destroyer. A wrestler can sell a destroyer. Look at
Yeah,
that.
and as I mentioned on my recap, it wasn't like he hit one, then Gable popped up and hit him with one.
Right.
And then just kept doing that over and over again. They just did one. They didn't do too much. I felt like they did just enough to make it a fun match. And yeah, I enjoyed it and wouldn't mind if they ran it back at some point. Hopefully they don't do it like 10 times.
Aaron, you know though, when Pat McAfee said, "It's in the destroyer," Petey Williams is pacing back there going, "Damn it."
Yeah.
It's not a Mexican destroyer.
Anyway. Sadly, we have to go back to Hogan here. That this guy
Christ.
experience.
it's like AEW hijacking our show. It's Hulk Hogan.
Right, I know.
Right.
I know.
This guy said he's never cared for Hogan before the tape, but let him live. So there you go.
Yeah. It's a thing. Even in that moment, that's not Hulk Hogan, the WWF champion of the '80s or the WWE champion of the '90s. I just go back and watch stuff on demand now and just don't try not to focus on what he's doing now. That's how I get through as a Hulkamaniac, brother.
Yep. Gino, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I forgot to mention a little earlier when we were in the crux of the Hogan stuff, but I'm always reminded of the Dark Knight quote from Harvey Dent, right? You either die a hero
Boom.
or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, right? You got your Ultimate Warriors and your Roddy Pipers and stuff. I mean, like, if you put a camera on most people on their worst moment ever, hiding in a freaking closet, like, we're all gonna have stuff that we don't want out. So it's really a shitty situation.
Ultimate Warrior.
Go ahead.
Ultimate
Aaron.
Warrior made homophobic comments. Ric Flair tried to have his way with women allegedly on an airplane.
And look at
He's starting to
Hollywood
turn
and a
into
lot of
more
these.
of a villain. Flair.
Look at Hollywood and a lot of these allegations and stuff that they're doing. Hulk Hogan slipped up verbally. You know what I mean? He didn't have
in the comfort of his own home because somebody was hiding in a
island
closet.
of sex trafficking or whatever else that could. Yeah,
I mean, you've had wrestlers that have allegedly beat up their wives. You've had wrestlers selling drugs.
I mean, like, look at the spectrum of things that have happened.
Okay.
Put Hogan's issues there. Where does that stand up to some of that other stuff?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, as fans, if the Benoit thing didn't derail wrestling, nothing will derail wrestling. It will always survive in some form.
Okay, moving on, Aaron.
All right, so the Anime Gen 2.0 sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, has CM Punk become more of a needle mover than Roman Reigns? Well, I would say as far as website traffic, yes. Virtue, I think as far
he
as
always has been. Roman
goes,
never. Punk has always been like him, and certain things with Vince are always, to me, the top needle mover you've ever had. I never considered Roman up there from that aspect of it.
But Roman's always drawn in. Attention.
He's definitely like the top 10 in that bubble. But I've never said, like, Punk has always been, like, to me, the king the king of that. And like
And
I said, certain things with Vince McMahon has blew your sight up too.
Yeah, and I think Roman Reigns being a heel and doing the whole tribal chief definitely helped WWE get through that pandemic period and kept them as the number one company and stopped AEW from being able to catch up to them. JJ, go ahead.
I was just going to say, has Roman Reigns ever crashed your website?
No,
Because
Nope.
Punk has.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Hogan's coming close at the rate we're going. I mean, if
Hey,
he goes out there
Scott.
and does NWO Hogan, I mean, who knows? That might generate a lot of buzz.
On a Saturday, no less.
Yeah,
Brother.
Hey, it would be interesting if he did that. If he just went out there and said to all the Hulkamaniacs, "Thank you for supporting me," but to the rest of you, you fans can stick it, brother. Man, imagine
Buy
that.
my beer.
Yeah, then you're turning real American beer into potential money. Just saying.
There you go.
The Cleaver Colin Andrew. I mean, I might even have to drink a real American beer if he goes out there as Hollywood
It
Hogan.
needs to make
Literally
it
say, "Hold my
available in more
beer."
states.
Oh,
It's got to be available for sale. Well, I can't find
Yeah,
it anywhere,
exactly.
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, not here yet.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
so
live in the area.
we'll get to this real
Right.
quick. We don't really know yet what's going on with this. So real quick,
Yeah.
on this. Colin Andrew said, "What's up with Corey Graves? Is it a work or not?" He went on Twitter. He vented about being moved from SmackDown to NXT, and then he said he was going to be on NXT. And then there were reports coming out that he's not going to be on NXT, which starts very shortly as we're live here. So here's the thing. To quote Jeff, if he is mentioned on NXT, then it might be a work. But if there's no mention of him whatsoever and they just basically ignore his existence on the show, then I think it's legitimate. We'll see what
which
they
would
do on
be
NXT.
weird if it is legitimate, because isn't he a product of Triple H?
Yes.
Yes.
Kind of, sort of like
Are-
that. That's why if it is real, something happened. You know what I mean? Something
Are
happened.
Are his tweets still on now? Are they still up or did they get
Yes.
taken down?
Yeah, they're
Yes,
still
he's
on.
Okay.
still up.
Yeah,
I say it's a work then. Because
leaning
remember,
towards work because he's a Triple
I
H
lean
product.
toward-
Yeah.
yeah, and also Corey was cleared. And the reports will be to be believed. Corey was medically cleared to go back to wrestling. So I lean toward work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, I feel like it's a work too. He might have initially felt like it's a little bit of a demotion, but if it's kind of how he feels, they're gonna turn it into a work because
Not if he was in
WWE
on
knows
it
how to
from the
do that.
beginning and him coming back
Yeah.
to work as a wrestler, or
Mhm.
to double down is like to give him a CM Punk moment as a commentator. This could be planned. You know what
That's
I mean?
one
So
way to
remember-
turn him back into a wrestler. Use this.
Yep. And see, remember, Corey Graves, the wrestler, never made it to the main roster. So maybe he's going back to NXT to
Yeah.
kind of get his feet wet a little bit before he goes back up.
You know what?
Right.
He could say, "You don't think I'm famous," and then sit there and challenge Logan Paul and make them fight wrestle. Just
Oh,
I'm
God.
gonna take somebody
We gotta
you
get
think
to
is famous and whip his ass.
We got to get to the main event. Where are we at, Aaron?
All right, so we got one more here from the Learning Sicko, Dr. Bropio. Thank you for the super chat, sent in $2. And last Hogan comment, unless people send in more, which could
Damn
very
it.
well happen, says, "For me, fuck the Hulk Hogan, then, now, and forever." Now, does that count as an F-bomb if it's fuck, F-A-C-K?
No.
I don't think
Okay,
AI can tell the difference, so maybe.
Well, that I'm not sure how
Fair.
the AI system works, because fuck is F-A-C-K.
And that's fine. People can that's how they feel. Whatever. That's fine.
All right. So on that note, I guess we're ready for the main event.
All right, so the Royal Rumble's coming up on February 1st. I know we got some Raws where Roman's coming out on the 27th, a Saturday night main event that's going to happen beforehand. But this is going to be a stacked Royal Rumble match for the men's. I mean, hopefully we can say this about the women's as we're heading into February 1st, but like Cena's going to be in it. McIntyre, Punk, Rollins, Roman Reigns, the big question mark of The Rock, and who else would you like to see? We're not going to do predictions yet. Just this is what I've been wanting for Royal Rumble for a long time, and they have to strategically place these people because I don't want them to be spread out to where by the end there's just like a couple big names with a bunch of like guys that you know aren't going to win it. I want all the power in there at the end. So let's go around and talk about this. JJ, I know I started with you last topic. I'm going to start with you again because I haven't heard too much from you. with your hand raising tonight. So have the floor on this one, but they better play this one right, man. I want all the power in at the end.
I don't know about it all being in there right at the end, but I definitely want the big names to last to the finals.
Exactly. Even if they come in at like 10 or 15. Yeah.
I think what I really want this year, and I think it's something that can easily happen because of the networking that Paul Levesque has been doing over the past year and a half, going back to Shinsuke Nakamura fighting Great Muta last year, and then Jordan Grace in the Rumble, the NXT and A partnership. I'd like to see some of these partnerships get involved. You know, we just had Omos go over to Pro Wrestling Noah this year for the Noah New Year, become half of the tag team champions over there. So I'd like to see Omos and his partner in the Rumble. Then you get I want to say it's the GHC tag team champions represented, and Omos is already on the roster. I want to see either Joe Hendry or Nick Nemeth / Dolph Ziggler, whoever wins on January 19th at Genesis, in the Rumble as the current reigning and defending TNA World Heavyweight Champion. These are the things that I really want to see, because we're going to more than likely get Obafemi, Ethan Page, probably Trick Williams from NXT. But if we can get some of these other champions from outside companies that WWE has partnerships with, that's what I really want. And we've already got, like you pointed out, you know, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, The Rock more than likely, John Cena. You got to figure guys like Sheamus are going to be in there. There's so much top tier talent right now that have legitimate shots to win this. You got to figure probably everybody on the two bloodline sides are going to be in there. That to have these, we'll call them partnership participants get involved, shows how much the WWE Championship is desired from everybody everywhere.
Well, I mean, that's now, see, JJ, I get it, right? The Royal Rumble, you have to have up and comers in there, or even like upper mid card potential talents to give them a rub, have them come in, have a good run, throw some people out, and then have somebody really good eliminate them. So I get that. Like, you can't have 30 top champion type people in the Royal Rumble. There's not that many. The one person I want in the Royal Rumble, and I know he wouldn't be the winner, but I want to see Brock Lesnar. I want to hear his music hit more than anybody else, because it would be a surprise, especially based on all the controversy with Vince. That's the guy. Come out, put somebody over, right? Come out, do your stuff, F5 a few people, but ultimately someone eliminates Brock. Like, remember when McIntyre did it? That's what I want the most. Are you good, JJ, before I pass it on?
For now, I'll raise my hand if I got anything else.
Walter.
Now, what we just talked about, I really want Pat McAfee to be in it, and then the next entrant is Corey Graves, and he throws his ass out of the Royal Rumble. Like, I really want that. Like, you need
That's a good idea.
do that. Yeah, take advantage of the situation to do it, because Pat was a surprise last year, right? Or maybe 2 years ago, whatever it was. But have him in there jumping around when nobody's there. Like, maybe there's nobody, and then the next entrance is Corey Graves, and Corey Graves just throws his ass out there. Like, I need that. Like, obviously, neither one of them would win, but do small stuff like that. Like, turn this stuff into a work. Like, obviously now you got Penta in there. He's probably going to be in there, have a good showing. But I agree with JJ. You need more of these partnerships. Bring, Nick Nemeth in there. I think Joe Henry's like a lock. Like, I really think he's going to be one of the big ones. And then a couple of NXT surprises and maybe a couple of Japanese surprises. But I really, because of what we talked about, that's my main one. Like, I really want Pat McAfee to be in there, and then freaking Corey Graves is the next
Yep.
person that throws his ass out. Like, I need that.
And you need all those other people like JJ talking. You need the workhorses in there to go to have long periods of the match, while the main people, if they come in a little bit earlier, like, some of the main guys that are going to finish the match will obviously come in 25 to 30. But if they, like, Cena comes in at number 10, he needs to have some downtime. You need those other pieces in there so Cena can be fresh for the ending. So that's why it's valuable to have people like that, or spots in there like the Joe Hendry Marks, want him out there to have a moment. Okay, I'm fine with that. All right, you good, Walter? Gino.
All right. So last week, I believe it was, we talked about, I was actually at the Royal Rumble last year, and Virtue, I told you I told everybody that I was kind of underwhelmed, and it was one of my worst things of the year. And you asked me kind of what I would have done differently or what I would have liked to see. I mean, already the 5 or 7 people we know are in this match, already bigger names than what we had all of last year. One of the things I don't want to see, until Walter kind of brought it up, was I don't want to see Pat McAfee come in, take a spot from somebody, and then just walk right out. Now, if he gets thrown out for the sake of story from Corey Graves, that is the only reason I would want to see Pat McAfee in the show. Last year, I was hoping for Brock. It was heavily rumored that we were going to get something with Brock leading into a Brock Gunther at WrestleMania. No show because of all the Vince controversy. Now, obviously, we talked about wanting to see The Rock in the Royal Rumble. That would be fantastic. Last year, the biggest thing for me was 1 and 2, Jimmy and Jay. That was like, oh, that's Jay's music. They're like, we kind of put it together as it was happening live. Like, that was awesome. And then the post-match posing, most of the Rumble last year, again, was underwhelming. I hope it seems like Triple H is doing a better job, even without legend surprises. Yeah,
Gino, just imagine there's a scenario in the Rumble where you got Punk, Roman in there, and then Brock's music hits. All of Heyman's guys. You know what I mean? Like, just, some people have to think about these moments. Isn't WWE about creating moments?
And
that would be a huge moment.
That's what I wanted. That's what you want out of the
moment.
Royal Rumble. As a bucket list pay-per-view for me, it was one of the only ones I hadn't gone to. I was like, yeah, we're going to get all these face-offs. My expectation, or my speculation, became expectation, and then that's probably why I didn't enjoy it as much.
Punk and Roman are staring at each other, and then Brock's music hits. That would blow my mind.
That's that type of stuff that makes wrestling, when it's firing on all cylinders, one of the best things on the planet.
And if Brock ain't working this year, and he's not part of this, do Brock's moment. Let that happen. Let that create us, and that can really enhance the Punk and Roman stuff if that is a plan. And Heyman and a triangle. Not that Brock would get interjected in that, but just that would be a moment.
And some of the other guys I want to see in it are the ones with the crowd-involved entrances, right? We know about Seth Rollins, right? I would like to see Trick Williams debut just to get the whole crowd singing his song as he comes in. We've talked about, I would like to see LA Knight. I almost wanted him to come into the Rumble last year after he lost the Fatal 4-Way because the title match didn't go on before the Rumble. So it was like, okay, well, this is the opportunity for some of these big name stars to actually be in the Rumble. No. But I think that, we're not doing predictions and stuff, but if Joe Hendry is there and he comes out at any number other than 1 or 2, I think it's a huge missed opportunity because of his song's involvement with the crowd. You can't stop the match for him to stand on the apron and do that. It would look very silly. So I'm envisioning maybe Dom at 1 and then Joe Hendry's music hits at 2 and you get the opportunity to do something, but we'll talk about predictions later. And somebody else I didn't really think of as a surprise return, a big CVV guy, and he mentioned Santino Marella, or maybe even Santina. I don't know if I'd want to see that, but his daughter is in the company, who they could have a moment, first ever father-daughter moment in a row. It could be something worth talking about. But that's I'm looking forward to this.
And no Nia Jax in the men, no Nia Jax in the men's Royal Rumble either. JJ?
Even though her taking all those finishers was one of the highlight of that Rumble.
JJ?
I completely disagree about having him at 1 or 2. You want to have Joe Hendry come in the middle of the Rumble when there's people already in the ring, so that when his music hits, the action in the ring stops and is like, what the hell is this? I would
There's
have
a-
him come in either the middle of the pack, 15, 16, or let him be number 30. You've gone through the entire field, gotten everybody in there. The commentators can be like, well, who's left? And then you hit his music.
And
The
JJ
problem-
number 30 can't be a dud.
A dud.
Like, it has
Yeah.
to be somebody that can get a good reaction. Or
Yeah.
if it's not,
And
there
he
better
will
be
give
a
that.
there better be a 31 surprise because of somebody interjecting. Walter.
And
I was
Joe
gonna
Hendry
say-
would get a reaction.
I was just gonna say I completely agree with JJ. Like when Joe Henry comes out, you need to have The Rock or all the big people already in there, and they need to react to him so they can show how big of a star he is. Like Roman, all them people are fighting, and then his music hits, and they all just stop and wait for him to come out. And even if they jump him and throw him, even if it's that already the fact that they all stopped and like, who the hell is this guy, puts him over.
You good, Gino?
Just
Hey.
one more thing to piggyback off of that. Yeah, number 30 when you're there live, like Live last year was a complete, dud. It was boring. It wasn't didn't do it for me. But like when at that point at 30, you're not getting, who you're not getting unless The Rock comes out at
Right.
31, right? And I don't want there to be like, people in the crowd being like, yay, but also boo because now we don't get The Rock or we don't get Brock or whatever, however it shakes out. So, I could see him being later in the match, but at 30, if it's not like Roman Reigns or Cena or something, like I feel like they could the crowd could maybe hijack that moment. Like with Rey Mysterio back, how many years ago was it where they were booing him even because they were expecting, what was it, Daniel Bryan, I think it was. So
I got an idea. The Rock is a board member, right?
mhm.
You can have him make it 31 at the end. Roman
That's
Reigns
what I'm
could be out here
saying.
winning.
He's
Yeah.
so
Roman
toxic.
Reigns could win. His music plays, and all of a sudden The Rock comes out. It's like, I can make the rules, and now I'm entering it. He can eliminate Roman. Like you could do something crazy, like something unprecedented like that. Like The Rock is a board member. He can change the rules.
And if
Like he'll
they
hold his
go,
arm up like he did 10 years ago.
If they go a safe route and it's the year of Cena, just make the ending good. Keep us on our toes. Have Cena eliminate somebody that you really would want to win, like Punk or or Roman. Just make it good. If it's, I don't want to see like Cena in there with McIntyre at the end and he wins by beating McIntyre. Like, you know what I mean? It has to be legit. And where did Jeff go? Because his turn is next.
Sorry, my dog was barking and nothing as usual. Crazy pit bull.
Do you want me to go to Aaron and then come back to
No,
you?
no, I'm here. I'm here. Hang on. I'm good.
I'm coming over to you, Jeff. And you know one guy that won't be winning the Royal Rumble?
Who's that?
Thankfully.
Hulk Hogan.
Cody Rhodes. Because
Well, I
Yes.
don't know, brother.
He's-
He has one more Rumble in him, perhaps. He even
So no
said-
Okay,
Cody
so-
Rhodes because of the ladder match with Owens, and he's taking that title to Mania. So Cody Rhodes
Yes.
will not win the Royal Rumble. Thank goodness. All
What if he
Right.
loses the title to Kevin Owens and then enters the
He's
Rumble?
not going to lose that. Kevin Owens ain't winning that title. Sorry. All right.
You don't think they're doing Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens for the WWE title at WrestleMania?
No.
Okay, then.
Jeff, go.
Oh, there goes my thunder. I was just gonna run with that. That's okay. No, so did we ever get confirmation whether it's gonna be 30 or 40 this year?
30.
Okay, it's gonna be 30. Okay. Camera shots all screwed up now. Damn dog messed me up for the day. I like everything I already said. I had Brock Lesnar in mind. I had Joe Hendry in mind. I had a lot of those people in mind. I honestly want to see Joe Hendry come in around the middle, and then I want to see Frankie Kazarian eliminate Joe Hendry and have their stuff carry into after Genesis. I firmly believe Joe Hendry's going to beat Nick Nemeth at Genesis to become the world champion, and I want that feud to build into. I think it's Rebellion that's out here the week after WrestleMania. That way, I can see Frankie Kazarian challenge Joe Hendry for the world title. But that's just selfish me being Frankie's friend and a Joe Hendry fan. But yeah, pretty much everything else I had to say, it was already said. Brock Lesnar, I want to see come in there as a surprise because it was such hype last year and he wasn't there, and that was kind of a letdown. I felt both number 30s were kind of like there last year, and it was like, okay, sure, but yeah, I agree with everybody. what everybody else said. To be honest with you, I don't have a lot to add, unfortunately.
Jeff, they had a 40. The one Del Rio one, there was 40.
Yes,
and
sir.
all the other years where it's 30 as normal. Did they ever have a 31 gimmick or no? I'm probably thinking of Brock coming out and winning Money in the Bank. That he wasn't in the match the whole time, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So they never had it.
Right.
So that's a first time, a 31 gimmick. Make it.
They could do that. Yeah. The only time they had an off number was number 18 in 1991. Never came out because Macho King's having his ring for his damn life from the Ultimate Warrior after costing him the title. So yeah, I think if they're gonna do that type of thing, it has to be like The Rock.
Oh yeah, no, it has to be corporate related.
It can't be anybody else but corporate Rock.
Member, but I mean, I'm not expecting that. I'd rather have just a solid 30. But like that would be, people would think, hey, that would actually be funny if the number 30 was somebody that we were all like it was Sheamus, and we were like, oh come on, and then 31 would happen. That would be like, holy crap.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it has to be. I think as good as the Rumble was last year, like it kind of felt lesser. What does it say? Oh, piss on that con. Oh my god! If Goldberg wins this Rumble, I am gonna not probably be on stream. So
you're gonna do what Adam Pearce said. All of us are guilty of. You're gonna.
That's right. I'm gonna go on there and bitch about it because I'm not happy with Greenberg being in the ring. That's right. Honestly, if he's going to come back and it's going to be Walter just destroying him, then I'm here for it. Whatever.
But let's be honest. They have to have somebody win it that's going to challenge. No disrespect to Gunther. The person that wins it has to challenge Cody because it will diminish.
Yeah, Cody, I'll agree with that.
And the food chain that way, they can't. They can't do what down the road. Maybe when they have someone else hold that title again, then maybe they could have somebody win it where you don't know who they're going to choose. I just that would blow my mind if they had somebody win it to choose Gunther, and it's like, why not Cody? Seriously, that's supposed to be your guy that you pushed hard to finish the story. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I feel like the Chamber winner has to challenge Gunther, while the Rumble winner has to challenge Cody.
Yes,
eventually
I agree with that.
Where the two champions, you could have somebody win, and you know, a year or 2-3 years down the road. But right now, it's got to be the person wins it. It has to be the one that challenges Cody.
Well, yeah, remember, Virtue, the world title's only been in play for a little under 2 years, and everybody's had to challenge Roman prior to now. Yeah. So it's you know, it's one of those you go with what you. I mean, hell, Money in the Bank ended up catching on the U.S. title. It's I believe the wording they use now is guaranteed championship match at WrestleMania. You're not going to win the Royal Rumble and challenge for the freaking speed title at WrestleMania. It's not going to happen. Yeah. But yeah, whoever it is, like whoever's in it, the comments have been right. This is looking like the most star-studded Royal Rumble match since the 1992 Men's Rumble.
Dude, and I would be totally fine. Well, now you know what? We're not really at the point of talking predictions.
No.
So. Yeah, we just wanted to talk about who we would like to see in that big groups of top stars.
I am firmly in with having Brock Lesnar, and with JJ's point, man. They've got all these partnerships now with pretty much everybody except AEW. Throw some of those guys in there. Make us think, holy what if moments. That's what we need.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to pass it to Aaron now.
Oh, JJ, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say really. No. I was raising my hand real quick because even though I know we're not doing predictions, just imagine this here real quickly. The final two are Punk and Roman. Punk's favor is for Roman to eliminate himself.
There you go.
Hold on. Then you get Punk versus Cody. The two biggest names to leave AEW for WWE's richest prize at the biggest event in sports entertainment.
That's tremendous. I'm here for it.
Then Roman has no opponent
Petty Mania.
But that means The Rock would have to show up to face Roman at WrestleMania because
why would you eliminate yourself for this?
Go back to Punk. If Rock isn't going to work this year because it's the year of Cena and he doesn't want to overshadow Cena, the Punk and Roman is the last two, and we get a tie. And it's got to be a triple threat. I know people don't like triple threats. That would be one I would love. Yeah. If there's no Rock, Roman wants his rematch against Cody. Like, he's going to do everything he can to try to get it. So they better
Mhm.
make the damn storyline good if there's no Rock.
Right. I said something similar
Yeah.
to that before. Like if Roman wins, but his favor is he's got to give up his spot to Punk. That's
Yeah.
the favor. Yeah.
That
Man.
is interesting.
Petty Mania.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Aaron, back to you.
Yeah, I saw that comment. That comment was in the chat room too. That would be interesting if that was the scenario. Now, I don't think that's gonna happen, but yeah, if they
Right.
were the final two and then CM Punk's like, by the way, I'm cashing in my favor, go over the top rope, that would be very intriguing. But anyways, we'll talk about that more. Fantasy book the outcome of the Rumble. As far as like the topic, like who I want to see in it, Virtue, you nailed it. The Rock, I want to see him in there. If Brock came in, that would be very interesting. Like they could mix that up with the Heyman guys and maybe even get Brock in there with Braun Breaker, and they could do all sorts of cool things if Brock came back. I want to see a balance of current guys, NXT guys, and legends. I always like when they have the legends in the Royal Rumble, so I really want to see some people we haven't watched in WWE in a long time. I want to see Ken Shamrock come back for the Royal Rumble. Maybe Sean Waltman, X-Pac come in for the Royal Rumble. I want to see those types of guys, those Attitude Era, maybe Ruthless Aggression Era stars coming back as just a one-off, just for fun. It's the Royal Rumble. Like I want to see more of that kind of stuff. And like you said earlier, number 30 cannot be a dud. It has to be somebody significant. And that 31 idea, it's a bit of a screwy ending, but it would be interesting. They've never done it before, and The Rock throwing his weight around and doing that.
Final boss.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
literally. You know how you beat a game and then sometimes there's that secret boss at the end? Boom.
Well, what if
If that happens, just remember who said it. I'm just
I
saying.
get how we're doing fantasy booking, but if The Rock came out at 31, throws over Roman Reigns when Roman Reigns, let's say Roman Reigns is about to win, he's about to throw over John Cena at the end, and then The Rock comes out. Then Roman Reigns gets thrown out by The Rock, and then Cena throws over The Rock. So then Cena wins, goes on to face Cody, and then it's The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. You could set
I
that
would
up
take
that
that.
way.
You know, Rock and Reigns. I want that title on the line for other purposes, but Rock and Roman's still the
Yeah. Jeff?
high.
I was saying, JJ, aren't you guys doing a fantasy book in the Rumble on Shenanigans on the 25th?
Why, yes, we actually are.
Okay. I know if we were going to plug that this week or not, but I just like everybody's saying fantasy book. It's like you guys are doing a whole show about that. I won't be there because I'm working. But yeah, okay.
Gino.
Yeah, just for the conversation of The Rock at 31, right? I'm thinking about timing, right? Because do you want to have the 31 number come the exact same interval as all the other numbers? Or do you want to let the couple guys have their finish moment and then Roman Reigns is, celebrating, say it's Roman Reigns, he's celebrating, and then all of a sudden 10, 9, 8, and he just starts ticking down. Everybody's like, what's going on? What's going on? And then The Rock's music hits, microphone,
And I have
final
to,
boss time, boom.
because we did the review last Tuesday before NXT, and Rock was still goody Dwayne Johnson for the most part, but he did say some interesting things on NXT about being 20 steps ahead or whatever it was, just planting seeds still, like there's still something festering that something will be delivered, whether, obviously with Roman, you think they got that planned at some point, or Cody, like that gave me a little bit of hope that we still have something to hold on to. If Royal Rumble happens and it's over, and it's no Rock, then we clearly got a new challenger for Cody. Then I'm going to be like, oh boy, here we go. But let's keep in mind, when did Rock get his business in for WrestleMania last year? After the Royal Rumble, right?
After the Rumble, yep.
So still some possibilities there. All right, Gino, and then pass it back over to Aaron.
Yeah. So yeah, just like, the half of the storylines in WWE recently were like people mad at other people helping Roman Reigns. If The Rock wanted to, he can be like, listen, like I had to do the tribal stuff because I'm a newly crowned, high chief, whatever. But I don't like that you've been working with Cody Rhodes. Like, what are you doing? Like, we're supposed to, he vanquished the family, he hurt the family, and then you team with him. Like, you're asking him for help. Nah. Like, yeah, I could see how they could spin that into like, no, like our tribal chief doesn't ask for help. Like, no, let me show you how, whatever the case is, I could see them doing that. And so,
Okay,
Aaron,
here's Sean Garner. Cena's winning the Royal Rumble.
Oh, go ahead, JJ.
I think it's interesting to note that The Rock made that comment about being 20 steps ahead on January 7th. January 27th is going to be Roman Reigns' ceremony from having got the Ulafala back.
Mm.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. The wrestling fans always thinking of the.
Always looking at the possibilities. I mean, you like to think that these clues are there for a reason, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not getting my hopes up that The Rock's going to be there. Just throwing that out there. But if he does show up, it'll be a really nice surprise.
What if he's number 20 because he's 20 steps ahead? No, I'm kidding.
There you go.
He's 31
Possibility.
steps.
He ain't going to be number one. I think we can say there's pretty much zero chance of that happening. And speaking of zero chance, Tiger sent in a €2 super chat, says, could a desperate aging John Cena cheat against Cody Rhodes? Not going to happen. I'm safe with my prediction on that one. I think there's like practically 0% of that ever happening. John Cena's not going to turn.
Cody's the cheater.
Yeah, exactly. If anybody's going to turn heel, it would be Cody on John Cena.
If it's Cena versus Cody at Mania, I just don't know to go for number 17. I'd have Cody beat him. I wouldn't have Cena get it. I just don't know why everyone's so gung-ho about that. Now, if it was Cena versus Gunther, I definitely have Cena get it and then keep that program alive, and maybe Gunther wins it back at SummerSlam, and that's the Cena rub for Gunther. But I don't know. We got plenty of time. We'll see what happens.
All right. This Guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I want Vince McMahon to come out at number 29 and then no Becky for the win. Vince McMahon in the Royal Rumble.
That's clearly a troll comment. I mean, nobody wants Vince McMahon.
I mean, I think there's a better chance of The Rock coming out.
We didn't even want Vince McMahon when he did win the Royal Rumble. Like, that was like
99.
Look at it this way. If you don't like Vince
Aaron
McMahon,
was
you
there.
should want him in the Royal Rumble because he'll probably tear a quad or injure himself just walking to the ring.
That's a McMahon staple, injuring your legs.
With his settlement or whatever, we got a high chance of Brock now that we said that. So
Let's say.
Well,
there's still a lawsuit going on,
Yeah.
but legally, like, the feds will back off because he's paying the restitution back to WWE. Stockholders will rejoice. Like, that's the big criminal thing of it all.
Well, right, but the lawsuit from the young lady, Brock, was implicated in that, right?
Oh yeah, like that.
Unofficially.
That's a lawsuit for money. That's not going to put Vince in prison. That's going to he'd have to pay a bunch of money. Is his big issue with that?
No, I think this lawyer of hers wants him to.
There'll be a settlement.
Yeah,
they want money.
Yeah, I mean, Vince ain't going to be there, and Brock is probably not going to be there. So, you got to have realistic expectations for it. But we'll talk.
I think Brock is more likely than Vince, though.
Yeah, still probably not until the lawsuit is fully settled. But anyways, Shadow Bat Ash sent in a $5 Canadian super chat. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Says, what's the likelihood of a Matt Cardona Royal Rumble appearance, and where would you like him to enter? Well, I'd like him to just enter the trash can outside and never be heard from again. But seriously, though, I think he'll be in it. I think there's a decent chance. He's going out there and saying, yeah, they haven't offered me a contract. I feel like that might just be a red herring. He's probably going to be there in the Royal Rumble. And he's put in his time. He's done his stuff outside of WWE and reinvented himself and all that. So, yeah, I think there's actually a pretty good chance he's in the Royal Rumble.
Is there a better chance he's Matt Cardona or coming in Zack Ryder?
Good question, because he says people will pop, but would they pop for his random song?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But he has said Zack Ryder's
always ready.
Yeah. He could use the beginning of Zack Ryder's music to get the pop and then transition into the regular music and just be Cardona, because people know who he is. Do that.
His Ryder song is so good, though.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Have him come out and then have Kane eliminate him just for old time's sake.
Right.
Or he'll be there only, to escort Chelsea to the ring or something like that.
Oh, I have to answer this.
That'd be a troll and a half. That'd be good. I'd like that. That'd be good.
The thing with Matt Cardona is, for years I was I was hyping up Zack Ryder. I was all about Zack Ryder. Then he had to win that WrestleMania ladder match, and I had to shave my head completely bald. It never grew back properly, and then he
He's the
blocked
reason
me on
bald.
Twitter. So screw that guy. That's why I
That's
intensely
right.
dislike Matt Cardona.
That's right. He cost us what was left of our hair. Screw him.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll talk more about the Royal Rumble in future weeks. And Mr. Tito, make sure you guys check out Tito's columns. He's been on a roll. He's been posting. He's back as a somewhat full timer on the NoDQ channel. He says we need a Gainer Kane
Yes.
in the Royal Rumble. Is that the guy
So-
who's dressed as Kane with the?
It started with a
The
blue
gay Kane.
It started with a blue cane, and then all these other ones started happening, and it was
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cocaine's my favorite one when he
because
uses
blue
the
cane
Yeah,
was
it's great.
like snow and ice, the opposite
Yes.
of fire.
Screw it.
Yes.
Bring all the Canes and even put Luke Gallows back in the fake Kane.
Yeah.
The shit. Bring
Oh,
them all.
Jesus.
Is there candy
my
cane?
God.
Like he comes out there like the colors of Christmas, and he's got like
He was the Christmas creature before he became Kane. So there you go.
AEW should sign Cocaine. Tony Khan's best signing. That would be his most
They
favorite.
should sign
understand that
Steven
reference.
Flo.
I feel like they have. Yeah, never mind.
Has
Even-
anybody here heard of Steven Flo?
I'm not even. No. Nope.
They should sign him.
Can you
make him
imagine
the
that first
World Champion.
AEW scrum? Can you
Oh my
imagine that
gosh.
first AEW scrum with Tony Khan sitting next to Coke Kane?
Oh jeez.
The media would not touch that with a 40-foot pole, or he'd be eaten alive. Either way, it'd be the greatest thing of all time.
He'll just
Oh my
spend his whole
God.
time sniffing on his shoulder.
And then he goes
And it's
in for
okay,
that big
Tony,
hug
like-
to welcome it in like he always does.
Tony Kane. Tony Kane. I just said
Tony
Tony
Kane.
Kane. Tony Kane.
Tony
There you go.
Kane. There you go. Oh
I
my
have
God.
nothing. I have nothing.
We can forget it. Rock
Tony
rail.
All right.
No
On
DQ
that
for now.
note-
It's over.
No DQ Galaxy.
All right, Aaron. What else we got here?
I
Oh
got
my God.
nothing else. I think on that
Yeah.
note, I think we're ready to.
All right,
wrap
last
this one
words.
up.
Last words. All right, JJ.
Oh, make sure you follow me on socials. I'm on Instagram, the Renegade JJ Williams, on Twitter and Blue Sky, ROWJJ Williams, YouTube, Casa D18 Studios. These are all the things we've got coming up this week. Check out our coverage of Maximum Carnage, watch long coverage tomorrow for AEW Dynamite. Saturday Shenanigans this week will be our monthly karaoke where we troll both Noah and James doing
Yes.
songs that have the word something in the title. Don't ask. It was a whole gimmick a few weeks ago.
Oh my
And then
God.
our watch along coverage of TNA Genesis Sunday night. Find out if Joe Hendry can do it and dethrone Nick Namath. You know, turn in the bounty on the wanted man and become the world heavyweight champion.
Thank you, JJ. All right, before I go to Walter, if anybody's good with using that AI stuff, if somebody can create Tony Kane, a meme or whatever, and put it on X,
On it.
put it on. I want to see Tony Kane. I don't know what you can
Just a
do, but
picture
like
of
just
him.
be
Would it have to
creative.
be Tony Khan in Kane's outfit, but it's white?
Just something that people would see the name Tony Kane and they would see Kane. Like it would be like it would resonate.
Oh,
with them.
okay.
They could
Okay.
laugh.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be cocaine related. I'm talking
Okay.
to ride with the Kane parodies. All right, Walter.
Wow. All right, you can catch me.
Speaking of wow.
Yeah, exactly. I might change that to Jada Parker after her few pictures lately. But anyways, you can catch us the new Twitch at SRS 1983. Also on X and Blue Sky at Walter Alice Cruz. The Instagram is at walter.cruz.940. And of course the YouTube at Rage of Wrestling. Yeah, exactly, Matthew. Mamacita. And again, thanks guys for having me on here.
Thank you, Walter. And I would imagine someone already took the cocaine thing with AI and put Tony Cocaine. I would imagine that has to be already out there, but that would be
You think
another
so?
one. Tony
Probably see
Cocaine.
didn't pop up in
And the white cane suit would be hilarious. All right, Gino.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me back, guys. Always honored to be here. You can catch me at all the socials, Papagino0017. If you want to catch me playing games or whatever, just feel free to come over to my YouTube. That's where I do most of my online stuff. But again, it's always great to have a place like NoDQ where we can come and talk wrestling and have civil discussions, sometimes a little heated, but we're all here, we're all wrestling fans, and we all want to see all the product do great things. So thank you for fostering this place, guys.
Thank you, Gino. All right. Long-winded Jeff.
That's it. Jeff Meacham, at Jeff Meacham on YouTube and Facebook, at _ Jeff Meacham on Blue Sky, on Instagram, on Twitch. And just stay tuned to all the coverages. NoDQ.com, Greg Cherry Brand, stuff out of the studios, all the things. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up from what I have seen. I'm looking forward to the world of wrestling in 2025 and looking forward to kind of just being a fan again. I said it last week. It was cool to have Dylan and my son and I just enjoying being fans again. Same thing happened at NXT when I was gone last week. It was so cool to be in that little environment and to have like The Rock and it's just everything be a part of it. It was really cool to just enjoy myself. And I'm looking forward to more of that in this year. But I'll always have to come back and do the NoDQ review.
All right. Thank you, Jeff and Aaron.
All right, so just stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest. And we do have one more super chat here from Emmanuel, a little after dark here. He says, who wins in the Royal Rumble amongst the panel? So I guess of all of us, who would win the Royal Rumble? Who's got who wants to put over themselves and say that they can win the Royal Rumble?
I'm good.
I'll be the one to get thrown out in record time. I don't need to win a Royal Rumble.
I guess me and JJ actually have wrestling experience, so I guess one of us.
There you go.
I feel like Gino, you might be pretty fit. So I'm gonna say you're the Royal Rumble winner. You'll have the stamina to outlast the rest of us. You also might be the youngest. I'm not sure who the youngest is.
I'd be the one that would have the long heel entrance, be the cockiest, get right in and get thrown right.
Who's under 40 here? Raise your hand. Okay, Gino wins. He's the youngest. There you go. He's the only under 40. The rest of us are over the hill.
We're all at the age that raising our hand would have hurt at that time.
Yeah, you guys are
right. Like, I think I pulled a joint muscle. Odds makers would say that Jeff Walter and I all have the lowest center of gravity, so it would be hardest to eliminate us. But
see, I look at
how many big men have actually won the Rumble. Most of the guys have been more lean, fit, like a Gino. So
Yoko won it though. But like I would love the heel entrance, getting the boo, and then getting eliminated in record time, and then laying down and listening to the pop. The person eliminated me,
right?
Or because I hated it so much. That's what makes
Aaron would have to be the one to eliminate you, Virtue.
Yeah,
get him back for the wedding.
Aaron would be the one that hides under the ring the whole time until like the last minute you forgot he was there.
The Dominic method.
As long as Aaron eliminates Matt Cardona first, I'm okay with that.
Yes, I would happily do so.
And shave his head
back.
And shave his head in front of Chelsea and watch them both just melt down. That's tremendous. I'm here for it.
Give him a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah,
fuck that shit. Absolutely.
Dude, I'm here for Cardona being in the ring, and then Joe Henry comes out because of their history with that song. And shit. I would love that.
Go. There you go. All right.
Aaron.
Anyway.
All right.
For those that don't know, he called Cardona Edge's bitch, like in the song. Like the whole song was, "You're always gonna be Edge's bitch."
All right. So okay. NoDQ.com, and that's it for this week. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate it.
Follow me on X.com if you dare at NoDQ_Virtue, and go to NoDQ.com/merch and check out all the great NoDQ and Virtue merchandise, and Jeff Meacham and whoever else has shirts on there.
Yeah.
For Aaron, for Jeff, for JJ, for Walter, for Gino, and the whole NoDQ crew and galaxy, we will see you again next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Jesus.